Now, after the results of various ballots around the country last month, more than half the states now in the nation have legalized marijuana in some form, principally for medical use. The National Football League does have some strict rules against the use of marijuana, and that policy is now coming into question. And joining me to discuss that are our NFL insider, that's Judy Battista, and of course Chris Sims, who is with Bleacher Report and CBS Sports. It's nice to see that the Sims dress alike in great suits.
Yeah,
First time we've ever actually had father-son here on the same set at the same time. A little nepotism here at Showtime. Good to see you, Chris. So, Judy, let's start with you as we get into this whole thing. First and foremost, what is the rule in the NFL, and where's the pressure come to overturn the rule?
Well, there is no legalized marijuana in the NFL. There are no medical exemptions. Players are prohibited from using it. And then there's an escalating scale of, depending on how many times you've tested positive, fines, then you miss games, all the way up to potentially a 1 year, a full season suspension. We haven't gotten to that. But the pressure now is coming from players and some in the medical community saying this is a really good pain reliever. It's considered safer, much safer than the opioids that players have to take and have traditionally taken. And players want to be able to use it at least to have a medical exemption. Right now the league is saying, look, we're relying on the science, we're relying on our doctors, and our doctors haven't quite gotten to that point yet, saying that we should change our rules.
Now, I know you, Chris, were very outspoken on Bleacher Report. You actually did a 1-minute rant on support of medicinal use for marijuana.
Yeah, well, I think the jumping off point for me was Chantrell Henderson, who plays for the Buffalo Bills. You look at that, he's suffering from Crohn's disease. Crohn's disease, horrible disease on your intestines, your stomach, basically deteriorating. The only thing that was helping him or saving him was marijuana use. That was allowing him to eat. So I think that was my jumping off point. I would like to see the NFL reevaluate their stance on the subject altogether. And in a situation like Chantrell Henderson, just use common sense and go, listen, I know this is against the rules, but this is a guy that has a serious issue. Let's go there. Added to the fact of what Judy said with the opioids and the prescription drugs. I've had so many ex-teammates, dads has ex-teammates who have had all issues with addiction to the prescription drugs. And I think marijuana is a safer venue or avenue, I should say, to help your body, especially with pain management.
But can I just say, do you open up Pandora's box when you start that now? Because, yeah, there'll be some guys that are coming up with some injuries due to just say that they want to smoke, you know. So does that not
just legalize it? What's the big deal?
Well,
I mean, we want state governments.
I know, time out now.
Right.
Federally, it's not legalized for any sort of use. Now, when you're talking about legalizing it, are you talking about legalizing it for medicinal use only, or are you talking about recreational use as well? Because, you know, this could be a PR buzzword so players can get their hands on marijuana so they can use it recreationally.
Well, listen, they're getting their hands on it regardless anyways. So what's the big deal?
That's a whole different story now. Because what you were talking about Chantrell Henderson is really a legitimate cause here. A medical waiver seems to be, like, for me, palliative care for illnesses like Crohn's or maybe other diseases that people really have to deal with a lot of pain. I can totally understand that, and I support that. But you are now saying also that you want this thing to be legally allowed for recreational use as well.
Yeah, I am to a degree. Yeah.
You know, let me get into this here. First, his rant on Bleacher Report. So that brought up, hey, Phil, we're going to do this segment because your son said this. And I went, well, this is great.
Dad.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. You know, and I said, you know, I'm going to come on there and I'm going to just smash it. You know, in other words, I'm going to be anti against everything he's saying. And then I did a lot of research. I called some experts in the field of all this and what we're talking about. And I'm telling you, immediately, it changed my mind. Because there's ingredients in marijuana. I'm not saying legalize marijuana, but the ingredients in marijuana, just a well-known doctor told me this. He goes, it's anti-inflammatory, the ingredients you're talking about. So that was one thing. It helps nerve pain. And the biggest thing, like Mike, you were saying, Judy, to get players off the painkillers. This is just a few of the things that, if you could separate it, not smoking marijuana, but get the ingredients in that can help you. You know, just hearing that and knowing pro football and knowing what a lot of ex-players go through and what normal people go through, just reading this in the last 2 days, it's changed my thoughts on it.
So, Judy, let me ask you this from the perspective of the NFLPA. Is this something that they're going to use in their negotiations, trying to get this to be allowed to be for, I would say, like as Chris was saying, recreational use as well?
Well, I'm not sure that the league will ever go to that, or I think we're a long way from the league approving it for recreational use. I could certainly see a carve-out for medicinal use where it's closely monitored, where the team doctors know exactly what's going on. but it's a negotiating point. It's got to be negotiated between the union and the league, and you better believe they are going to try to extract something from the other side to get it.
That's very good, Judy. You're right. But the thing about marijuana, everybody goes, "Oh, I've said some of the good things that are in it too." But the other part about it is too, it makes you drowsy. Your memory, other things you lose. So those are the. It's like drinking and driving. There's same episodes can happen if you're smoking marijuana. So I'm talking about the other ingredients that are in there that can help.
Well, all I know is that there's two sides of every story. I talk to people in law enforcement that I know very, very well. They tell me that it's a gateway drug, that they're totally against the recreational use of it. I think I do understand where you're coming from, the medicinal side of it, and I say in the palliative care world, then I would definitely use it. As far as recreational, where you're going, I think that's too extreme, especially for NFL players.
But
All
it's
right.
good to see these two guys sitting.
Yeah, I know, it's nice.
I just think that, listen, a lot of
families dealing with the same
Right.
thing. I'm dealing with it in my family. I'm sure a lot of families dealing with it, and this helps.
Hey, some of the progressive states are finding that they look at it and go, hey, you coming home from a tough day at work, you drink a beer, well, this guy likes to, take a toke of his marijuana, and they're finding about the same equal ratio there.
Well, it's an argument that
Yes.
other people need to have in order to get this thing either legalized
Definitely.
or
Discussion.
criminalized.
Discussion.
Discussions for sure.
Right.
Thank you, Judy, very much.
Very nice.
You actually raise up the IQ quotient on this. Back to the highlights, and of course we're going to go to the Mile High City right after this. Going to Denver.
That's perfect right there. Oh, that's perfect.
And of course we're going to go to the Mile High City and their beloved recreational activity. Other than what we were just talking about, and that would be the Broncos on Sunday. The defending Super Bowl champs travel to Jacksonville. Take it away.
You